Right, so this has been my first bit of trail riding that I've done for a few years. My dad, he had a motorbike shop and he used to run green laning days at the weekend for his customers who wanted a taste of off-road riding. And I used to go out sometimes and trail at the back. I really associate riding motorbikes with the countryside, but unfortunately not everybody does, and there were some locals today who were very disgruntled that we were using the trails.
That's fine. Do you mind putting your point of view on film for us?
No, I don't.
No? So you don't really think we should come?
I think we
So you don't think we should? Would you mind just... We're interested in your point of view.
Don't get me wrong, I can see how bikes can be intimidating to some people. They're noisy. I loved revving that XRL today. We're colourful in all our psychedelic gear. I've got big shoulders to rival Hulk Hogan, and a helmet and goggles so you can't make eye contact. But as long as you're riding on trails that you know you're allowed on and you're following the TRF's code of conduct, you're stopping your bike for horses, switching it off, you're slowing down for cyclists, runners and walkers, then if there are any issues or repercussions that arise and you're a member of the TRF, they've really got your back.
Well, the Trail Riders Fellowship was formed in 1970 as a body of people who defend our rights and all our bikers' rights to ride on these green lanes. Gradually, in the 60s, these lanes were not being used. People were using obviously a bit more the tarmac and they were falling into disuse, and we were losing them, quite straightforward. So some very foresighted people came together and they put together the TRF here in Hertfordshire, nearby in Tring, and they formed an organisation to fight for the rights. Any lanes that were being closed, they actually fought for the rights and kept our rights away to use them.
So you live in this house right by this trail. What do you think of bikers using this?
No problem at all. It's a proper green lane, so like I say, as long as it's treated with respect, people clear up after themselves, don't damage stuff, no issues at all really.
For the day I had a choice of two Hondas, either the CRF 250 XRL or the CRF 250L, and I bagsied the XRL. Having done a little bit more off-road riding than Luke, quite a bit more, I decided that the X was perfect for me. The X is such an awesome bike. Essentially, it's a sports performance bike. It would be great in competitions and for light trail riding at the weekends, which is what we were doing today. I did have a go on the L because I wanted to find out what this bike is all about, and Luke had been raving about it all day. But to be honest with you, the X had an unfair advantage. I absolutely loved that bike. It was a sports performance bike, whereas the L is a commuter which you can use for a little bit of light off-road. And Luke did think it was the bee's knees, and he's going to be doing a full review on it later in the year. I was really surprised at all the different trails that are available. The TRF guys showed us loads of different terrains. There was one where we went through a ford, got my boot wet. We're going to be riding through this river, but it looks really deep. I'm just going to disappear, I know it. That'll be my luck. Thank goodness for the X's electric start. There was also a trail which we had to get to through riding through a field, and I wouldn't have thought that you were actually allowed to do that, but we had to go diagonally across this field to get to this trail. There were also a few trails that started with a locked gate. Who would have thought you could go through a locked gate? Well, you can. But one of the biggest surprises of the day was at one point we were riding through a stream which was 4 miles inside of the M25. all types of riders that are members of the TRF. Mark Kinner, he won the GS Trophy as part of the GB team, and I really took him on as my mentor for the day.
Yeah, it was, we had to cover a lot of miles during the trip. I think it was something like 2,000 kilometres, and so we had to do quite a lot of miles every day, and you'd sort of get on a tarmac road and you think, oh great, some tarmac for a little while. But it was probably harder to ride the tarmac because there was just huge deep potholes everywhere. A lot of the time we was running on sort of like dirt tracks, sort of stone dirt tracks with massive dust. You must have been able to see us coming for miles.
The key is don't be intimidated by the TRF. It really does showcase all different types of abilities, and there are so many different trails around the UK. We did do quite a lot of road riding today, and I think that's because Mario was trying to showcase the different types of terrain that you can have on a trail. But I know from previous experience that you don't have to do that much on-road riding. And at the end of the day, one of my favourite bits, Mario took us to this really boggy, rutted trail, and it was my favourite part. I got really down and dirty. Joining the TRF could open up your eyes to a whole new set of trails around your area. And if you'd like to find out more about your nearest TRF group, head to their website, trf.org.uk.